Hey guys, Steve here with Utah Outdoor Adventures. Hope everybody's doing all right. Today it is Do-It-Yourself Tuesday, DIY Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about Altoid cans and the different things you can do with them. A couple of ideas in particular, and feel free to add to this list if you have ideas as well. Of course, these ideas are outdoors oriented as usual. My channel is about backpacking, camping, that kind of thing. So we're going to focus on that for now, particularly looking to make things more compact and more lightweight. These little canisters can be quite handy. So let's get started, and we'll start with my first aid kit. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is just your average everyday Altoids box. You can buy them anywhere in any grocery store. I also have a similar knockoff, pretty much made the same way, that I found in a sporting goods store. This is something called Ice Chips, strawberry daiquiri candy for diabetics. I'm not diabetic, I was just curious about it, so I bought them and tried them, and they were pretty nasty. But I kept the tin because I never know when I'm going to need it, because I'm always coming up with these ideas what to use them for, especially when it comes to saving space in my pack. This one is my first aid kit. Let's go ahead and open it up. I'll show you what I've got in here. I've got a strip of moleskin in case I get a blister when I'm hiking. Let's see. I've got a couple of rubber gloves. They don't just have to be used for the first aid kit. I have alcohol swabs in here. And of course, as you can see there, Band-Aids as well. For some reason that one's not in a wrapper, but the rest are. The only thing I'm really missing from this is Neosporin, or some kind of antibacterial agent. I'm gonna put some in here. I had some in here, but I've used it. This is for my ultralight kit, and I'm only taking with me in it the bare necessities of what I need. As far as medication, that kind of thing, I have a separate container for that, so it's not crammed in with all of this. But I have a large first aid kit that would never fit in here. It weighs about a pound, and it's got all kinds of things in it for larger trips or when my kids are with me, that kind of thing. This is just my own personal first aid kit, and this little Altoid box has been pretty handy when it comes to storing it. Just stuff it all back in there and close it up. Now, of course, this isn't waterproof. You can put it inside a Ziploc bag. That will solve that problem. And also, these tend to pop open kind of easy sometimes, especially if you filled it too full. I just recommend putting a rubber band here and here. So ultimately what you're going to end up with is something like this. And then of course the Ziploc, pop it in there, seal it up, and you've got a waterproof mini first aid kit that has the basics of what you need for at least ultralight backpacking, if not lightweight, or the other way around, lightweight backpacking if not ultralight. So there you go, there's my first aid kit. The other thing I use these tins for is a little more involved and weighs a little more, but I'll show you why here in just a second. Okay guys, here's my other kit. As you can see, it's a different color. And the reason for that is because I want to distinguish it from my first aid kit. I don't have to guess which is which. This is my first aid kit, and this is my miniature tackle box. Now, I'm going to assemble some of it here in front of you so that you get the idea of how I piece it together. Let's go ahead and open it and just look at the contents here. As you can see, I've got some egg sinkers, some split shot sinkers. I've got a couple of lures. I've got some tiny treble hooks, size 16 or 18, because they float, and I prefer to using power bait over lures because I'm just that lazy. But I do have these in case I need them. I have lure fished, but I prefer bait fishing. I also have some bait hooks in here, some regular standard bait hooks. Pretty much what I need. As far as bait goes, I found this It's a miniature Altoids box. This company's gonna love me. Altoid Smalls. I've used them, I enjoyed them, and now I'm using it to hold my power bait. But I'm not going to just stick it in here because this stuff will dry out. So what I'm going to do is take this piece of, a small sheet of saran wrap, plastic wrap, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to take just what I need out of the bottle. I don't need the whole bottle, especially if I'm backpacking and am eating what I catch. I'm not going to want to catch 10, 12 fish because I'm not going to eat 10 or 12 fish unless I'm on a 10-day trip or something. So let's go ahead. I think that's probably good. Use a chunk of my favorite, this pink stuff with glitter works really well, I think. Anyway, and then all we're gonna do is seal it up. And pack it in our tin. And then we will place it right in here. See, it fits inside this Altoid box. So pretty handy. Now, I also have, just in case of an emergency and you have to use this to fish with and you don't have a pole, and I'll get into the pole situation in a minute as far as lightweight and compact goes, and cheap. This is some 10-pound test fishing line. How we're going to store this is, instead of winding it up and just stuffing it in there, we have a technique for that as well to make it fit. As you can see, my fishing license is right here in the lid of the can, so it's all contained in case I ever get checked when I'm out fishing, and I'm good and legal. Let me show you what I do with the fishing line real quick. Okay, now as you can see, I've managed to locate a spool of thread, a very small one that I know will fit in my tackle box. Of course, we'll need to remove the thread, so let's go ahead and do that. Just be very careful however you decide to do it. This is fastest. Just get a box knife, cut right through, comes right off. Now this, my wife probably bought this at Dollar Tree in some sewing kit or something, and it was just sitting around the house in a junk drawer. You can also use a sewing machine bobbin, whatever, just something to reel in your thread. Just something to hold your thread and not have it all over your tackle box. Okay, so now we've removed the thread, it's time to put the line on. We'll start with a solid knot. As you can see, a lot of these spools, they come with a little notch. Well, maybe you can't see, but I'm not going to use that notch because it's made for thread and it's not going to hold my line. So I'll go ahead and start with tying a knot on here. Good old-fashioned granny knot should do it. There we go. Just something to get it started because you're going to have enough line on here that it's not going to come off easy. Trim the excess and just start winding nice and tight. Okay, as you can see, I've got plenty of line on there. This actually has a little hole in the spool. You could actually use a Dremel. Pop that in there and, whoops, coming unraveled. Just pop that in there and let it spin, and it would definitely not take as long as it took me to wind this on here. But hey, whatever works, you know. Now to hold this in place, I'm just going to slap on a little piece of duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything, doesn't it? And that'll just hold it so we don't have any problems. Now we're just going to tuck it in here. I made a little space for it. Now you're probably thinking, wow, what a cluttered mess. You can use little miniature Ziploc baggies, the little tiny ones that drug dealers use, I guess. It's the only time I ever see them used. But you can get them at a pharmacy, apparently, supply of them, and you can put these in individual baggies so they're not so messed up like I have it right now. And then that's it. There's your tackle box with extra fishing line. If you're in an emergency situation, you can tie this to a stick. If you're near water, you're probably near a stick. So tie this on there, your bait's in there, your sinkers, everything you need. Okay, well, that's it. Our waterproof first aid kit. Our tackle box, I guess you could put this in a Ziploc as well. Keep it waterproof and protected. Probably a good idea. In the past, what I've used is one of these. I own fish, so I had a fish food container. This weighs almost nothing. It probably weighs less than these cans do, but I'm not so much concerned about weight when it comes to these two items. I'm more concerned about, because there are weights in this, I'm more concerned about compactness and being able to put it in a pocket somewhere out of the way in my pack. So, but what I did before, last August, I took a backpacking trip with my son to the Hyuina Mountains here in Utah, and I took this with, and I realized that my power bait canister will fit in there perfectly. And then I just piled on the tackle. We did all right fishing, and this met our needs. But I realized I don't need this whole container of bait to go with me. We both ended up catching a fish each, and that was plenty for us. We didn't need to catch 10 fish, and I didn't need this much bait, and it worked really well. But it was just too much stuff. All right, so there you have it. Here's your fishing kit for your lightweight, at least lightweight backpacking trip. Maybe not ultralight, I don't know. And here's your first aid kit. A lot of people will take these tins and they will fill them with candle wax and put a wick in them and cook over them. I don't know if I would go that extreme. I'm not that into ultralight, but you know, it'll hold candle wax and wicks and be all self-contained if you need it in an emergency. I'm sure there are a plethora of other uses for these that you guys can think of. Feel free to message me and share those ideas, or even to comment on what I've done, as long as it's constructive. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. These are just ideas I've come up with on my own that I find helpful. I just got back from a weekend trip to Antelope Island here in the Great Salt Lake, and not too far away from my house, probably about 40 minutes. And I took my son Dylan with me. We had a great time. That video is coming up soon, full-length video. I really appreciate everybody's support. We're almost at 600 subscribers to my Facebook page. I hope you'll do the same with my YouTube page. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, as always. On Facebook, you can find me at Utah Outdoor Adventures with Stephen Grames. There you have it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.
Sitting in this tin. Excuse me. Breakfast is not agreeing with me. You know me, I'm cheap and easy. Ugh, my fingers are all gross. So let me show you what I do with the fishing line. Whoops. Okay, so now as you can see, I've located a thimble. Not a thimble. What is this called? My mini tackle box. And of course we need to remove the thread, so let's go ahead and do that. I try to stay alive. Whoops. Okay, anyway. Awesome. Gonna have to do that again. So, I guess that's about it. We have our first aid kit, waterproofed and covered in rubber bands holding. So I guess that's about it. We've got our two kits here. We've got a tackle box, which we can now close up. In theory. Okay. Okay, we'll just cut that whole part out. We'll get a couple rubber bands. They're not very very long. Here, let me zoom back. Whoop, that's the wrong way. Oh, there's the problem. Alright, let's bring this up. God damn it. And I also have a blog at utahoutdoorsandmore.blogspot.com. Someday it'll be a website when it grows up.